Hey
Well,
Connor, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great too. Good to have you
Good.
on. Thanks for doing this.
I appreciate it, man. It's my first time doing something like this, so I'm excited.
Well, you're going to do great. You're already doing great. It's good. You're able to unmute and everything, so we're good to go. All right, guys. So, for those that don't know Connor, Connor is really, I think, especially since like June, like you've really been killing it, writing a ton of insurance. You write mostly vet leads. I don't want to take your whole story. Um, but it's just been refreshing to see somebody brand new with no experience come into this thing, plug into what we say to plug into, show up on Zoom every day and dial with his friends, and just have a tremendous amount of success out of the gates, and then start building a team right away because it was working for him. So he's just telling people about it. I mean, this really is that simple. So for those that don't know you, Connor, can you just give a little bit about who you are and your background and how you got introduced to FFL?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm really young. I just graduated like 2.5 years ago from high school, so I don't have much of a background, but I mean, I worked at a couple warehouses just about a year ago, year and a half ago. I just got started at the fire department here locally, went through academy and everything, and I actually got my license right before that and decided, hey, I'm gonna join academy. I don't know if this is for me. And then come late June, I really got it kicking off. I know Ollie through my girlfriend. It's her uncle, so I noticed he was doing really well off and he enjoyed his job. So I just kind of reached out to him and was like, "Hey man, like, what do you do? Like, how are you doing this?" And he gave it to me and led me to where I am today. And then a few other family members and friends saw my success and I was just like, "Hey, like, let's do this together. Like, this is great." So.
I love that. So you didn't have any experience before this, right? This is just like your first go around.
Yeah, this is my first. I mean, I got my license a year and a half ago. Like, I just did the class and everything, and then right at the end of June is when I really just started like kicking off first call and everything. So
Okay. So a lot of agents, when they get started, Connor, I think that what happens is I think they really overcomplicate it, or they think they need to know more than they actually need to know, or they get caught up in like analysis paralysis. Did you do any of that, or did you just kind of hit the ground running?
I'll say what I did to kind of start is I wanted to. I'm the kind of person that wants to like perfect my craft before I get going into it. So what I did, there was like a month or two straight where I would get home from the fire department 7 in the morning, go to the gym and call Ollie and say, "Hey, I'm coming over." And I sat in his basement with him with a notepad and on the side we had goals and everything, and I just sat there and listened and took notes. And I really wanted to just kind of perfect it and learn objection handling and everything before I actually hopped on the phone. Ollie helped me out, gave me some leads, got me going, and I mean I just really started rolling. I think taking that month or month and a half of just sitting there and taking it all in and understanding everything and being confident truly helped me out and get me rolling really quick.
So when you first start, you're at your lowest level of knowledge and your highest level of anxiety. And the goal is to lower the anxiety and increase the knowledge. Now, some people take a month and they just listen to other people do it, which is perfectly okay because you were moving forward. And then other people are like, I'll figure it out as I go. Either way, it really is taking action that's going to cause you to get to where you want to go, right? So with you, what were some of the biggest challenges when you actually did start dialing? What happened?
So when I first started going, I mean, Ollie listened to my first few phone calls. Obviously, the obvious, just not being able to handle objections and not understanding everything. So that was like the first challenge that I faced, and Ollie helped me get through that. But when I first started, my biggest challenge was I was just on the phone to sell a policy. Like I was not there to help my client. I mean, I was good at what I was doing. I was getting through. I was doing applications, selling policies, but in the long run, that really hurt me. There was about a month or two there where I had, of course, chargebacks because I wasn't selling the correct policy. I wasn't truly out to just go help people. I was there to make money, if you want me to be honest with you. So that is where I struggled there. In about 1 month, I had a bunch of chargebacks. But I mean, I really talked to Ollie. And I was like, "Hey, what do I need to do to fix this?" And he told me one thing that flipped my script, like changed everything for me. And it was just, "You're good at what you're doing. You're being a salesman right now, and you're being good at that. But don't be a salesman. You need to assist these clients with their needs and help them out, and the money will come with it. So that truly helped me get going. And I mean, chargebacks are going to happen, but it's definitely lowered since those days.
So what was the change after he gave you that advice? Was it just you were overselling people or giving too high a
Yeah.
price or
Well, I was just selling, the highest premium I could. I was just getting through it, not really like when they would give me an objection, I would just go around it and go straight to the application, like just selling these policies and not truly finding each client's why and why they need life insurance. And I didn't maintain a steady relationship with each client. I just sold and moved on. So I didn't stay in touch with them, and I just like lost everybody I sold. So I definitely had to make a change in that.
that's fascinating. I did that too when I started. That's interesting. I had a
Yeah.
bunch of chargebacks right up in the beginning, and I was just overselling people,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, I was good at
It,
what I was doing, but it's not the right way to do it. And it's in the long run, it's going to hurt you more than it's going to help you.
so when you look back on it, I mean, how important was your relationship with Ali in that process? Like you literally glued yourself to him, right?
Yeah, it was great. It was super important to me. I think I may have annoyed him a little bit, to be honest, on how much I kind of reached out to him, but it just him sticking with me and helping me with the leads and the objection handling. And although I didn't want people to hear me talk on the phone, he's telling me, listen, you let me hear you talk on the phone, and we're going to get through this together. And him just being there every step of the way on the days he didn't want to be. I mean, that really helped me get off. And that's what I want to do for oncoming agents, new agents, friends, family. That's what I want to do. But no matter what, every day, if I had to call or text him, or I just showed up, and he was there for me to answer any questions or help me if he could. So
I love that. That's awesome. Um, do you think so the process of getting started, was it hard for you in the beginning to buy leads or to buy into the idea of buying leads or
yeah, yeah,
how did that happen?
that was a big problem for me. I always had the mindset of just not wanting to spend the money, not really. I always looked at it as just losing money and not investing money. So I really, and Ollie knows it took me about a month or so to get an idea of, hey, if I spend this money, I'm going to make it. If I already had the states, if I'm selling the leads Ollie's giving me, and I do this on my own, like it'll work out. So it definitely, that's one thing I wish I would have gotten over sooner. But it took me a little bit to want to spend money to make money for sure.
And so what's the most you've issued in a month now, personally?
Issued, I'm not sure. Based off of the number, I think this past month was probably my best month. I don't know issued, but AP, if it was like 65,000, I want to say.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So I remember you posted in one of the groups your dashboard at a 3 month period, and it was like 100K you'd issued. So those were
Yeah.
issued numbers there in that
Okay.
3 month period.
I haven't been
Um,
checking it.
to submit or even issue 65,000 off vet leads, what does your schedule look like? I know you're full time at a job, so when
Yeah.
do you find time to dial? What do you do?
So I'm lucky, I'll be honest with you, although it's a full-time job. I mean, it is 24 hours on, 48 hours off. So my
Right.
2 days off every single, except for Sunday. Sunday's the only day that if I need to, I'll catch up with people or do anything I need to, or if there's someone that needs help, I'll help them. But I would say about 4 days a week, just depending on the schedule, because every week's different at the fire department. So my 2 days off, I'm usually 9 to 6 or 7, just kind of depends on how the appointments are. 9 a.m. I'm waking up before 9, but at 9 a.m. I'm doing any admin work I need to do, setting my goals for the day, what I need to get done. And then 10 to like 6, 7, depending on appointments. I'm calling appointments. I have a dialer calling leads for me. So yeah, I would say 4 days a week most of the time, which I'm working on. I'm probably gonna end up pursuing this full time, but right now it's just 4 days a week, roughly 9 to 6 or 7.
And you guys do something unique. I've seen Ron do it. I know Ali does it. I'm sure you do it too. So if your dialer books an appointment and they don't show up, like what do you do then?
If they don't show up, I mean, there's more people I got to get to. So there's not much more. If you call them 3, 4 times and they don't show up, we just kind of leave a text message. And then towards the end of the day or the next day, I'll just have her call them again, trying to get back to her. Cause I mean, honestly, sometimes people just forget about the appointment. Now, I mean, we have a system in place that sets a reminder. Hey, you got an appointment in an hour and 1 minute, whatever. But some people just truly forget it. Some people obviously don't want to do the appointment, but I'll just have her, I'll call him myself later in the day, call him a few times and just try and get back out to him. But outside of that, I mean, there's not much more you can do, to be honest with you.
Well, and I know when you get on Zoom, because you dial with the other guys. So are your dialers on there too, trying to connect you with people live if you're open?
Yes. So they are on there. And if they get someone and they're ready to chat live and we're not on an appointment or whatever, yeah, they'll transfer them live. Yeah.
How do they do it? They just three-way you in and
Yeah.
or they
Yeah.
have you call them or
Yeah. So they have like mine has their own number or whatever. So she'll call them if they're ready to chat now. They'll say, all right, I got my agent on the line with me. I'll go ahead and connect you the call. So kind of just transfer them.
nice. Dude, that's great.
I love
That's
when
pretty
that
smart.
happens.
So you basically have set aside these 4 days. You're super strict with the schedule. You show up. Um, if you have, how many appointments in a day do you think are normally booked or are you trying to get on the calendar?
So I would say without us doing anything, I would say 10 to 12 appointments are booked. 8 to 12 appointments are booked each day. With my dialer, it's probably like tomorrow I have, as of right now, like 21. So with my dialer, it's bringing it up to 15, 20 a day. So
In
something
those
around.
21, are you booking them every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes? How far
So
apart?
mine is set for every 20. I need to probably adjust that to every 30. And I'm allowed to have two at each time. So obviously, as everyone knows, like not every person's going to pick up. So that's why I like to have multiple books so I stay busy throughout the day. Now, if I'm late on someone and there's two 12 o'clock appointments, I call when they pick up. I just text that person. I'm honest with them. Like I'm a super upfront guy. I'll be like, hey, I got a client on the line. I know we have an appointment. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Are you okay with that? Or is there a better time? But I just like to be busy. I'd rather be late on an appointment than
Right.
not have it. So
Dude, the kiss of death is just sitting there twiddling your thumbs or that's no fun when you could just be talking to people that want to talk to you.
yeah.
Um, okay. How much do you think you spend a month on leads to write 65,000?
So per month, I do on the leads, like the marketing, the videos, it's about 6 grand per month. Now I have a guy
Mhm.
that I pay, it's like 1,500 for him to run everything, get my dialer set up and everything. So I'm probably spending for my campaign, for dialer, for everything, 75, 8,000 per month.
To write 60.
Yeah, I
That's
mean
good.
that was a good month. November was a really good month, but I wouldn't say that's my
Right.
average. November was really good.
But if you did that to write 30, I mean,
Yeah.
that's still good.
Yeah. No, I
Was
would
it
say my
hard?
average.
So this is where people get caught up, like they don't think like somebody that owns a business. And what I try to get people to understand, like if you owned any business and you could have $8,000 worth of inventory and turn around and turn that into $30,000 worth of income, like you would do that. If you could do that every day, you would, right? Like that's how it should be. But people get caught up on the how much they're letting go of.
And I was the
How do
same way. Even when I saw the profit, I was still the same way. But I had to just get out of that mindset. Scared money don't make money. So
amen to that? And Ali's done a great job because he's super. Um, not only is he super profitable, but he's smart about it, and he's really consistent. He's been consistent, especially the last year. He's went through a lot of stuff, and he's still
yeah.
Hall of Fame and finds a way to get it done. He's recruiting, his team's growing like crazy, and you guys are all doing great. Um, but what kind of advice did he give you as far as like money management and what to do? Like, did you have a bunch of money when you started? Did you have $8,000 a month to put into leads, or kind of walk us
once
through that whole process?
once again, I was kind of fortunate. I'm young. I live in a home with my parents, so I'm kind of just stacking up with the fire department. So to be honest, to start off, yes. I mean, I did have the funds to start. Was it something I wanted to do? No, but Ollie definitely, I mean, he showed me day in, day out, and I even participated in making money. He was just like, it's right here in front of you. Like you're seeing I'm spending money, I'm making money. What are you waiting on? Kind of thing. And it just took some, I wish it didn't. Like I said, it just took some convincing to get me to get going on that. So, um, yeah, he kind of helped walk me through the whole, you're going to make more money the more you spend. So, and that's something I want to do. My goal is to, like I said, proceed with this full time. And so I want to bump it up more than 200 daily, just like Ali, and I want to compete with him. So that's my goal.
There we go. That's awesome. Um, so I'm curious about this, and I know I sent you like a list of stuff we talked about, but we're having a conversation around it, so this is good. Um, but what I really want to know is like Ali was right there. So put yourself in the position of a new agent, and let's say Ali wasn't in Louisville where you are. Like you couldn't just go over there. What would you have done? I'm sure you would have succeeded, but what would you have done?
So what I would have done, like I said, I'm still that kind of guy where I want to perfect my craft, and this is something I still did without Ali. But I mean, he even got me a book. There's few people on YouTube. There's trainings to go to. And I still watch the YouTube videos, but I would have sat there and learned and read books and just learned how to be successful before I jumped into it. Now, in terms of marketing and everything, I'll be honest with you, I don't know where I would have gone. I probably would have just gone by per lead and tried it out that route. Ollie definitely led me in a great direction, how he did for me for marketing, but I don't know how I would have gone with the leads, but learning how to sell insurance I would have learned through books and YouTube probably.
And then just like Zoom dials, right? Just like being on every day with Zoom.
Exactly.
Because I think a lot of people are thinking, well, I can't do what Connor did. The guy that hired me is in Nebraska. I'm
Yeah.
in Arizona. Well, I'm sure they're dialing on Zoom every single day. You're really fortunate to be hired by somebody that sells a lot. And
Mhm.
there's a ton of people on this right now that sell a lot. And just having the accessibility where you can just get on live dials and just hone your craft that way. Like you got the basics down, you got the confidence that you wanted to try it, you knew the script, you heard the objections, you heard it a bunch of times, and then you were like, "Hey, I can figure this out. I can do this." And then
Yeah.
how many times, especially in the beginning, are you making phone calls and then Ali's like interrupting, saying, "Okay, well, do this, say this," you know?
It got annoying at some point. I would be on the phone and he's listening to me on Zoom and I'm just getting blown up and I'm reading and talking at the same time. I can't focus. That was
Yeah,
that was funny and annoying at the same time. But I mean that's the way you learn. I mean, and I would say that was probably the thing that taught me the most is having Ali listen to me on the phone, whether I wanted to or not. I didn't want people to hear me on the phone. I didn't want people to hear me fail, but that was what helped me the most right there.
yeah, it really is whether you're right there in person. Like today, we had the builders call, and Stanley's on the builders call talking about, they have an office and in Dallas, and people come to it, and they do the same thing. They dial with each other, and
Yeah.
then on our dial room, we 50 people there today dialing, and I think I just have come to the realization that it's just really on the job training. It's just being around people that are doing it, willing to get uncomfortable, willing to unmute, willing to let people listen, willing to let people coach you. So I know
Um,
you'd have been successful no matter what, just because you're willing to do that, you
right.
know.
Absolutely. And it's also a copycat kind of thing. It's a copycat business. So hearing other people talk on the phone and succeed, and you'll just take that and put it into your script or your daily selling insurance. So
Um, when you started, were there people around you that told you it was a bad idea and you shouldn't do it?
there's still people telling me it's a bad idea. There's still people telling me it's a bad idea, especially at the fire department. I guess because the guys love me, but they're like, "Hey, don't leave. You can stay here, do both." No, I want to do this full time. But definitely starting, even I mean, family, friends, like everybody was just telling me it's dumb. Like, this may not be around forever. You're not going to succeed, whatever. I mean, it's just kind of one of those things you got to put your mind to it and don't listen to the other people. I'm glad I was able to keep that mindset. No matter how many people told me it was a bad idea, I mean, here I am and doing great at it. And I'm ready to pursue it full time.
Yeah. And when are you going full time? Next month, right?
The goal, yes.
Hopefully.
So I probably shouldn't be telling a bunch of people this, but I was like, I already told them, I was like, hey, I'm ready to pursue this full time, whatever. And they were like, oh, you got all this PTO. Why don't you use it and then you can get out of here. So I'm using all of that.
I love that. Well, good for you. I mean, so a year from now, um, tell us what it looks like if you're wildly successful. Like if you look back a year from now and you say, "Man, the last year has been awesome." Like, what's that place look like for you?
A great place. I'll tell you that much. Being able to just not be cocky about it, but for everyone to tell me that it was a dumb idea to do it, just to have that feeling of I did it kind of thing. And then not only that, but I'm hopeful in a year that it's not just me doing it. It's a couple family
Right.
members that got going. It's a couple friends that got going, and we're all doing it together and enjoying it. So
Amen to that. Dude, this is exciting. Good for you. Um, I'm trying to read through some of these things. What do you think holds most new agents back? What prevents people from doing well at this?
a couple things, things I've already said once, just not having the confidence and the want to spend the money to make money to get going, and then really not taking the time to learn. Not just like a lot of people struggle with not wanting people to hear you on the phone and then just continuing to struggle and not truly learning how to handle objections, just not really putting in the effort and doing what it takes to learn and get better at this job. I think that's where a lot of people fail at. Like I know there's a couple of my friends were just like, "Hey, I don't want people to hear me on the phone. I sound like an idiot." I'm like, I sounded like an idiot when I started too. Trust me. You got to let me hear you, correct you, and you'll grow and get better by doing that. So I think those are a couple of
Mhm.
things that agents do to not get going quick.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, people put way too much focus on the alternative. Like, if you're not doing it the way you're doing it, the problem is the more you learn in insurance, the more you realize you don't know. So you can get caught up in this idea of having to learn and perfect way before you start. That isn't what you did. You were engaged in the process. You were there learning it in person. You had to do something to go make it happen. Even if
Right.
you're just getting on Zoom in the beginning and listening, at least you're moving. But a lot of
Right.
people, it's analysis paralysis, and they just never cross the abyss into into taking action because they make it too complicated. I think is really that's always been my opinion
It's
of it. But
really once you get the ball rolling and you understand, like you're confident as an agent and you can like, I can go help these people out. It's you can just get rolling if you just invest the money into it. I mean, it's that simple. You just got to understand what you're doing and be confident in what you're doing. So
it's fun, right? Are you having fun doing
yeah,
this?
yeah, I love it. I mean, I love, and I want it to be more people. Like I genuinely want there to be more friends and more people I know on there, and us just like calling like all day and talking and like taking a couple minute break here to chill out. That's like the best thing about this job to me is just the freedom with it. Not only are
Right.
you are helping people out with life insurance, making money while doing it, but you have free time. Like you're not scheduled to do anything. Like this is your time. So I love that about it.
Right. Well, that's awesome. So let's see. Let's see what else. Um, so Ali told me you didn't want to role play your whole script. We don't have to do that. We don't have to role play your whole script, but give us how you open it up. I mean, how do you set the table? And how do you know when it's like a good lead, like they're really interested and you should spend your time with the person? And what are some red flags that tell you, hey, this probably isn't happening. I'm going to move on to the next one.
I mean, I started. I mean, it's super simple and it's comparable to Ali's. I literally, I mean, there's a few things different, but I copycatted his, and that's why I'm so successful. But I mean, I started off like when it's appointment, I simply call them, confirm who I am, so they know who I am, confirm the details they've given me, and I'm like, hey, look, this is what I can do for you. And the most important thing at the beginning of the phone call, doing telesales, is making sure your client is aware of who you are. All right. I mean, they don't trust you, you're not going to be able to help them out. So, very beginning of the phone call, I don't always send my credentials if it's not needed, but if it's someone that sounds kind of iffy, I'm like, hey, look, I have like a little website or whatever about me, a picture of me and everything, and licenses. So I'm like, hey, look, this is a picture of me, a little bit about me, all my licenses. Scroll through that for just a second while I explain to you what I'm able to do for you. And I kind of upfront and I'm honest. I'm like, this is what I'm able to do. Go through the process. I have all these carriers. I can get you the best price, that kind of thing. So the very beginning of the phone call, I just want that client to understand who I am because that's super important nowadays.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, when you have that many leads and appointments, it's kind of easy to just let one go when you know it's not there. Like you can just tell on the phone when they're stuttering or they don't really remember setting the appointment or they're not really looking for life insurance. You can just kind of tell. It's just one of those things. It's hard to explain, but when you're on the phone and you hear them speaking to so many people, you can just tell. And I'm not so rude. I'm not like hanging up on the phone or whatever, but I'm asking them a serious question. I'm like, hey, look, I don't want to waste your time. I value both of our times very much. Do you need life insurance? Is it something you're looking for? If so, I can help you out. And I'm very upfront and honest with them. If they're not, I get off the phone. I don't like to waste my time, especially with multiple appointments at one time. So
So you're just super direct.
absolutely, just like Ali, just like Ali, he's
Yeah,
super direct person. So I'm super direct. Now I'm super direct, but I'm also laid back.
right.
I try to be like super chill. Like if we get on a Zoom or whatever, I'm not one of those guys that's in like a button up. I'm showing them my Christmas tree behind. I just like to relate to my clients. I like to start random conversations. Like I just talked to someone earlier. I'm a Packers fan. He's a Bears fan. So for 20 minutes, I talked crap. So it's just one of those things. And that's when I say at the beginning of the phone call, like I like to build the relationship right then and there and get them to trust me. That's just one of those things I do. Like I'm super laid back. I try not to sound. I keep professionalism, but I don't want to sound like too strict or anything while I'm on the phone. So
Got it. Um, how do you present the numbers? How do you present the prices? Do you do three options, two options? You have to write everything down. What do you do?
what I do is I first find their budget. So the first thing I do, I don't go over. Obviously, I found out what they're looking for in life insurance, whether it's final expense, mortgage protection, because no matter what lead it is, it can be anything they want. So I find what they're looking for first. When I get to the prices and everything, I go over. I'm like, listen, I don't want to show you something that's over your budget, because if I show you something that's $200 over your budget, or $100 over your budget, you may scream at me and hang up the phone. I'm here to help you and guide you in the correct direction. So I'll ask them, hey, what's your budget? Or I'll ask them, what do you have left over if they don't know their budget? And I'll go 30% of their disposable income. I'll say, I wouldn't recommend going over this. That keeps from insufficient funds. And that's really been helping me recently, by the way. But that's kind of
Mhm.
how I do it. And when I find what their budget is, what they're comfortable with paying, I ask, okay, say it's 200. I'll go, okay. So we can't go over 200. I'm going to give you options for 100, 150, 200. I'll do the three options after I get the budget first. And I'll say, this is how much coverage you can get. Unless obviously they're upfront and they're like, hey, I want this much coverage. Then I'll find that coverage and go over their budget. But if they're not telling me what they're looking for, I'll go over the budget and then give them coverages based off of their numbers kind of thing.
Okay. And then once you get through the app and they make a decision to do it, how do you firm up the sale at the end to make sure that it stays on the books?
Yep. And this is something very recently that I've been working on. This is one of those things I struggled with, like I said, not following up or anything, not maintaining my client. At the very end, the first thing I do is I make sure that they save my number. That's the most important thing. I'll make sure they text me, I text them. The second thing that I do is I send them over whether it's a PDF or a picture of their approval so that they know and they have the policy number. Um, I like to add, or one thing that I do as well is I remind them of their premium. I'm like, hey, do you want a reminder each month of this premium? And then the last thing I do is right before we get off, I'm like, hey, listen, I'm not the kind of agent, once again, very upfront, I'm not the agent that's going to sell this policy and then move on. I like to build relationships and maintain a healthy relationship with my client. So right then and there, what I've been doing that's up the last 2 months is I'll schedule a follow-up within the next 2, 3 weeks to make sure they receive their policy. Once I do that and get off the phone, I schedule another follow-up for a couple months down the line. And if it's a holiday or something, I have it have it in my system to where it sends them a message. Just really making sure they remember me and they know I'm still here for them. That's something I've been doing as of recent.
Okay. So then the reminders, like for the monthly premium, you just set that in your Go High level and it just sends it for you, or
So I haven't done that yet. You can do that in my Go High level. Yeah. I'm gonna work on putting those in there. But as of past couple of weeks, I've been busy and lazy, so I just put it in my personal calendar, and I'll actually shoot them a text, which in the long run may be more beneficial because it's
right?
actually me texting them, and maybe we can actually start a conversation. So it may be something I do, but when it gets to the point I have so many clients, it's going to be hard to text a bunch of people every day like that. So for right now, it's just my personal calendar, and I'm personally texting them each day.
Good work. I mean, the thing, if people, everybody should take away from this the work that he's putting in. I mean, it's clearly what it is. Like, if you because I talk to people all the time that tell me 1,000 reasons why it can't work for them. I mean, it gets exhausting. But if you really spent 40 hours a week just just 40 hours a week doing what you're doing, it'd be impossible not to sell a bunch of insurance.
Right.
If you spend 40 hours a week, thinking about doing it, that's you're not doing it. But doing the activities you're doing, like
Yeah.
it would have to work.
One thing that I've remembered through growing up playing sports, which is amazing, by the way. I love playing sports. That's taught me so much in life. But one of the main things that I've grabbed from that in high school and fire department and everything is if you do your job, you do it the right way, and you do it consistently, it's all going to work out. And it literally has no choice but to work out.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I've always stuck by. It was like I was like 13 and playing football. And my head coach, that was his saying: if you do your job and you do it right, what happens? It all works out. It has no choice. So
Yeah. No, that's great advice. Good for you. What position did you play when you played football?
I was middle linebacker and running back. So
Nice. Well,
not
shoot.
not not as not super fast at a running back position, but it's all right.
That's all right. As long as you get 10 yards. That's all it needs to be. Just strong.
All right.
Um, all right. So anything I didn't ask you that you wanted to share with folks?
I read down a couple or I wrote down a couple notes. But I mean I've already truly went over them. Just a couple things I really want you guys to take away is like what I got from Ali. Don't go out and sell a product. Don't do it just to sell a product. If you sit there and you help your clients, the money will come with it. So that's one thing I want you to kind of just remember and be different, be relatable to your clients, build the relationships. It's super important. If you don't build a relationship, you're not going to make the sale anyways. So you might as well do it. So those are two pretty big things that I would like everyone to at least think about and take away after this Zoom.
All right. Well, let's see here if there's any questions I didn't. Okay. Oh, this is good. Everybody just okay, yeah, this is good.
I
All
see
right.
I see what's holding me back from full time.
Oh, you answered it because I saw that and then I asked you.
Okay.
You said you're doing it next month, so that's good. Where'd you find the dialers?
I'll leave send them to me if Mike, if you reach out to me on Facebook, I'm on Facebook. If you reach out to me or whatever, I can help lead you in that direction.
But you didn't start out with dialers. You dialed. You were in that
No,
Zoom
that's that.
like a
I,
maniac.
I told myself I was like, I'm gonna be the guy. I'm not gonna be like Ali. I'm gonna dial these people every day, and really quick, I learned I wasn't gonna be able to do that, so I had to get a dialer. Now, I don't have a dialer. She's not full time. She doesn't work every hour I work, but she's working 20, 25 hours a week for me, and that's super helpful. Just to know, like,
Yeah,
hey, get to these leads today. I can have this dialer call them for me tomorrow. Now, I do
yeah.
not want them to go 2 days without being called, but I can afford one day here and there. Just saying, I'm a little busy today. I'll have her call him tomorrow.
Well, I tell you what, Ali was a beast when he started out on the phone. I remember when he started, I gave him leads that were like a year old and told him they were new. And he went out and wrote like $50,000 of premium off of them in like no time. It blew my mind. And I was like, what? And it wasn't big premiums. Like they were like $30 premiums and stuff. And he just went out there and I never seen anything like it. So he's a beast on the phone. That's why he trades
Yeah,
dollars so good.
he's a different level. That's I definitely lucked out with him, listening to him on the phone.
That's great. Well, sweet man. Well, I'm excited. I am going to reschedule my trip out there. I'll definitely be out there in January. I'll let you know what dates, but
Yeah.
I'm excited
Well,
to work with
everybody,
you guys. You guys are killing it. So I'll be able to celebrate with you for full time.
heck yeah, heck yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Connor, for jumping on. We'll get this recording out, and I hope a lot of your new agents were on here. And if you are, listen to everything Connor says. He's doing it the right way, and I can't wait to see what the next year holds for you. So, thanks for
Can't
being
wait.
on. Thanks, everybody. It was
Appreciate you, man.
awesome. Appreciate you too. Good work.
See y'all.